Tammy and I want to cover a training this evening that we believe, well, not we believe, it's actually the foundation to the level of success that we have in our business. And in fact, it's the foundation to the wealth that we've organized, that we've built within our network marketing business. And this is something that we've done, for decades. But along the way, I realized that we haven't talked about this for quite a long time. And one of the things that's very important to understand is most associate focus really solely on the front lining. In other words, the people that they sponsor, and waiting or hoping that they may do the business, and however, very often they may never take off. And we know that this is a fact. And one of the things is every single one of us have a network. Regardless of how big the network is, it will depend on that personal social environment, but everybody has a network. And when someone is in a business, especially at the beginning, it is critical that you I don't want to say the word take advantage of, because it's really not taking advantage of, but taking the opportunity to work within that person's network when they're excited, within the first week, within the first month, within the first 90 days. And as a matter of fact, as you know, some of you have witnessed, Tammy and I, and what we've done. I use this as an example because you've seen some of the things where some people have done well with network marketing and have done well with the team, and they decided to move on, right? It's just the cycle of life. It's just the way things are. But what we've done is we've built relationship within the network to make sure that there's support, regardless of if the upline leader is, may not always be as committed, but the support is always there. And that has encouraged the relationship within the network of that person. And regardless if the person decides to stay or not, the organization kept growing, the volume kept adding, the team kept moving forward, momentum kept, building up. And that has to do with tap rooting in building your network marketing. And that's what we want to talk to you about. Tammy, before I switch to the next slide, is there something you want to add?
No, I think the next slide is really going to explain a lot about what is necessary for it to be done. Chris, you're doing this slide here.
Yes, that's correct. I just want to make sure that in case you want something you want to add. But you see, so what happens here, folks, is a recruit isn't a recruit until he or she has recruited. And this is the step that really get the person committed to the business model that we're part of. See, a new person really isn't anchored into the business until he or she has become trained to duplicate the process. And we've really simplified the process. As you know, the board is just an incredible tool that I'm grateful every day for, because everything is at the palm of your hand just by moving your thumb up and down, by clicking whatever it is you need, instead of looking for something in a website or asking your upline for an email that represents something you need. It's all there. So again, just a side note, are you aware of our app? Do you have it installed? And if you have the app installed, are you connected to our actual app, the Active Team Group app? Right. So this is something you should be really, really aware of, and this is something that your new recruit should be part of, so they can start the duplication process when they begin. And, one of the things also that's important is that they become a product of the product. And we know that. And I know I'm speaking to the choir here. I know everybody knows this, but this is important. And again, there might be some people listening to this call maybe a year from now or tomorrow or next week, or someone that just got started that may recognize some of the things that maybe are not as obvious to them. So that's why I'm talking about them. But you need to become a crusader of your own product and made some sales. And I know many of you are selling your products really, really nicely, really well. And for good reasons, because these products has wonderful value. And we know we live in a society, people need them. Okay, so this is something very important. And number 3 is to recruit a new person. To recruit a new person into the team. This is when someone actually becomes a committed, or I should say an associate that most likely will be committed to build a business for a period of time. Until that happens, they are most likely not going to stick around very long. And that's the foundation to starting to build your organization. And Tammy will expand on the width and the depth as we keep moving forward.
Yeah, so the goal is always to that your very first person that comes in is to get them engaged as quick as possible, move them heaven and earth to bring them into the culture. So always ask yourself these questions when you're sponsoring people into the business. And you got to really dig in and build relationships and know what they want. It's not just about signing up somebody and making a commission. It's about moving people along. It's to get them into action as quick as possible. And by asking them how they want to grow. You know, how do they want to grow this business? You show them the ranks, you show them the income. What level would they like to be at? And find out what it is that they're looking for so that you can guide them and help them in getting started. And if you're not moving people fast, then most likely, Chris said, they're going to be gone. Usually it's a 90 days. That's why this 90-day drive is so important. Usually it's a 90-day mark, unless they have been brought into the culture of these sessions, of an event that's going on. You know, it's important to get back out there and doing events, doing your own personal events, because people need that connection. I can tell you, when we're at Eric's, that connection just put us both on fire. And just being around the people that we needed to be around to get that fire under our butts again. So tap rooting is what we need to do, every single one of us, and as quickly as possible. So I'm going to make an example on the next couple of slides. Well, we'll show a graph, but I just wanted to share with you right here, when you bring in a team member, the goal is you're going to tell them what needs to be done, and you're going to show them the 5-step plan, which everybody knows, the five steps and the action steps. And then you're going to show them how to do it, and they're going to try and they're going to do. So you have to lead this. You can't just sign somebody up and just hope and wish things are going to go right, like Chris said, and then they're gone. And you know, when they start making excuses, you have to be there. You have to come in and show them the positive side, the inspiration, the possibility on what could happen for them. You need to elevate people. You have to be there with them. Okay. So one of the things that you want to do when you sign up your first team member is to find out where they're at. You want to make sure that they're always excited, right? And who are 3 people that you know that would be as excited as you? Ask them questions always to share the vision of Max. You can ask them questions like, who are the top 10 that you know that are entrepreneurs? Your goal is to go into the network. That is tap rooting. It is to find out if they worked on their contact list, to categorize their contact list for cold market, hot market, warm market. And you're looking for people who are entrepreneurial. You're looking for people who know how to build networks, that that are influencers, that have drive. If you want to build this fast, this is what you want to do. If you go out there searching for starving people, most likely they don't have the skills, and you're going to have to work a lot with personal development. I'm not saying to disqualify anybody, because you never know if how hungry people are. You never know, because we've seen it over and over and over again. But go out there searching for people who can stand, and you'll meet other people as well. So who are the 5 easiest people that you know that we can recruit right now? And talk to your associate, your new person, to find out who are those 5 people that you feel that right now they're hot, and right now they're looking for something. Right now their immune system shot, they're working all the time. You want to get in and find out who those people are, and then just introduce me to them. Just introduce me to them. And that is what will get your team members income, number one, volumes, number two. The goal is to help your people get into their networks and help them get their people into their networks until they can stand on their own. Now, all of you on this session, pretty well, from the ones that I'm seeing right now, can stand on your own. I've seen you guys do the work. So the goal is for you to be doing that within your networks. Okay, and those of you who are looking at this for the first time, maybe you're on Facebook Live and you haven't really started, or maybe you brought a couple people in that are gone already. Go and get new people. We always have to think about new business, and new business comes from new associates. It comes from existing associates that haven't been taprooted yet within the network. So go into your network again. I know that's what Chris and I are doing right now. And of course, you can say something like, have you heard the news? I was training a couple of ladies today in Uganda, and they're on fire. They're super excited. And it's nice to see. It's a mother-daughter team. And I'm just, I said, you got to talk to everybody. You just got to get out there and talk with everybody, whether you know them or not. Go into stores, go do this, go do that. People don't do this stuff anymore. They're so laid back and they just want everything to come to them. I said, no, get out there. Nobody knows about this. We are the best kept secret in Canada. We're the best kept secret in the United States. We're the best kept secret in Uganda. Like I was talking to these ladies, and I said, just get out there and say, have you heard the news? Everybody's so caught up on the news, right? Have you heard the news? And then talk about Ribosine. Have you heard the news? We've got an opportunity here to make a lot of money. And those who run with this, nobody knows about it. It's the best kept secret. I'm looking for people who want to run with me. And these are the things that you want to say. You're going to disqualify the people who are not looking, which is perfect, because do you want to waste your time? Do you really want to waste your time? No. Then you got to go out there and with passion and excitement is to put it out there. We all have to go out there and put it out there. And there's a lot of people in your network already that needs this. You just haven't taprooted enough within the network. Okay, and when I'm saying you, I'm talking about all of us, because I'm telling you, at Eric's place, I was on fire when I saw this, because that's what we did to get to where we are. And going back in the field, going back in taprooting, that is what needs to be done to get to the next level. And I can tell you that the next 2 years are going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge. So sitting back and waiting and wishing and hoping, that's not the place to be doing right now. It's not the thing to be doing. Is getting out there and talking to people and opening their hearts and getting them to see the bigger picture of what could happen for them if they would jump in and do something that would be really exciting for them and their families, of course.
One of the important things, Tammy, that you promoted in the Canada USA group, and it's that example of this guy that knows Grant Cardone, right? Is that his name? Mm-hmm. And yeah, and it was basically telling him, listen, Grant, I'm going to unfriend you from Facebook because you're just overwhelming me. There's just too much post. And then Grant Cardone looks at him and says, you know what? I don't really care, because you're not going to buy anyway. So why should I worry about it? Why am I sharing this with you? Because it is bold. I mean, it's something I probably would never say to someone, but here's the story behind that. Here's the message behind this. Often we build this business, or we want to build this business, and we felt that, well, we've already called that person, we've already told them about it, they don't want to hear from us again, and you are disqualifying yourself, because people tend to respond to multiple exposures. I've said that very often when we place ads, I spent an entire month of wasting my money on ads, but it's not wasted. It's setting the stage for the following month and the third month. And that's when the calls are starting to come in. That's when people start clicking those links and start asking questions. So if you stop after one try, one call, unfortunately, you're never going to get in. You're never going to grow. You're never going to build something because you never give it a chance by passing that initial stage. So this is what we're saying by tell, show, try, and do is you got to be bold, folks. You got to be bold. And another thing that's really interesting that reminds me, say, Tammy and I went through all of this, and I know some of you are going through it now who have gone through this before, and you have to go to do it again. It's not always comfortable, but we're mingling with people that are income bracket level over there. And it's interesting because we all went through the same thing. We're all going through the same thing. And we're all kind of redefining ourselves. And we're going back to the basics. So this particular training that we're sharing with you, by the way, I just want to say hi to all of you that just popped in on Facebook Live and on Zoom here. Thank you for joining in.
And just quickly, Chris, while the thought is there, you know, there's a lot of people that made some really, really amazing money, just product focused. And that worked. It worked for them, but things have changed. Things are shifting again. You got to be up to speed on what's going on in the environment. And a lot of these girls that were really focused on product online, you're going to see you're going to notice a difference. If you're following any of them, you're going to notice a difference because they're shifting, and they spoke very clearly about it in this session, that they are shifting, looking for business builders, focusing on, you know, getting uncomfortable to talk about network marketing, because so many people are afraid to talk about network marketing. And what we need to do, all of us, and I want you to think about this, is I want you to write this down, you guys, because this is going to help you, because we all need third-party credibility in building this business. If you want to build a network, you need third-party credibility. Whether it's from Eric Worre, Rise of the Entrepreneur, whether it's Jim Rohn, who talks about, oh my gosh, Chris, what was the Jim Rohn one? You've got Robert Kiyosaki that also talks about network marketing profession. Anybody out there who's talking about the power of network marketing, articles, anybody famous who's talking about this, pull it up, start sharing it, and start connecting, start creating videos on your story, why you chose this profession and what it's doing for you. What are you getting from this profession? And then pop in a video of Rise of the Entrepreneur, a segment of that, a segment of this, an article of this. And you'll see that you're going to catch a lot of people's attention right now online, because people are hungry. They're having challenges financially more than ever. Customers are going to drop because they can't afford it. But if you show them an opportunity to earn, you're going to have a lot better results going forward, because the next couple of years are different. So if you're sitting there thinking that everything's going to be the same, that your volume's going to stay the same, I'm sure that every one of you have already seen a difference and a drop in your volumes.
It's a cycle. It's a cycle.
Exactly. But
and the fact here is
that's
that
what happens is we're going through that cycle where we need to make a shift.
So the fact here, what's very important here is to adjust to the trends and the new trends that are cyclical.
Mm-hmm.
And a leg is not a leg until it has at least 4 level deep. This is very important. You get this. So if you turn around and you sponsored one person here and one person here and one person here and one person here, and hey, I got my 5, I'm qualified for prime level 1. Well, yeah, you've done step 1, but step 2 is to go in depth. In other words, to help them to get to prime level 1, which is really interesting because we've been teaching that for quite a few years. And as a matter of fact, I credit the fact that many Crown Diamonds that are in Max, but which have reached the Crown Diamonds and the Diamonds, have built it because of this strategy where you are recruiting your personals, but in turn, you start working with your personals to build the organization. So a prime example where how are Tammy and I able to go in a country, come back, and that country keeps building and gets into momentum on its own. That's what we're going to be talking about throughout this training. But this is the foundation for you to understand how we've built our empire. Is we will recruit, just like many of you have done. But then we don't stop and wait for them to come to us when they're ready. This is not going to happen. What you do is you knock at the door. Obviously, you know the people you brought in, they want to make money, but often there's a million excuses as to why they're not doing it. And if you listen to those excuses, unfortunately, you will be you'll be out of the game, because if they don't earn a check within a month or two or even 3, then I keep spending my ownership. Now the economy is changing, inflation's increasing. Do I want to stay healthy, or do I want my cigarettes? Well, I like my cigarettes. You know, it's unfortunately, but that's fact. It's a fact. So I'm using maybe a bad example, but we know that that is true and that's real. So what's going on here is you want to start digging into their organization, building a network, finding out who in your team, who in your social environment might be interested to try these products. Forget about the sell for the time being, just to try these products. Obviously, they're in because they got a product experience, or they caught the vision on how their life could be improved with this wonderful business model. So the fact here, and that's the key, is that's the magic number, is that there's 4 individuals that came in. It's not you that brought in these 4. It's this person, what, for A, maybe they brought B, C, and D, or A brought B, B brought C, C brought D. Whatever the scenario is, you need at least 4 level down. That is a leg that most likely will be growing. And as you know, in our business, we have a left team and a right team. That's your sponsorship line over here. Well, if this happens to be on your right side, your right side will take off. If you happen to be, for example, Joe here, which is team 2, you know, Joe is an associate. So Joe is not just himself, is not a team. The team will start when Joe starts sponsoring, for example, 2A. And then 2A may sponsor 2B, C, and D, or Joe may sponsor 2 of them or 3 of them or 5 of them to qualify for the prime level 1. And then you focus on them. That's how you build in depth. And this keeps going on and on and on and on. And if it happens to be on your left side, now you're opening up your left organization, and then it's going to increase your matching check bonus. And this is exactly the foundation of how we've built this, our organization. So here are your team members. These would be your 5, but then you want to help them get to prime level 1. That's another kind of language that is actually part of our training. On, if you look at the PDF or any of the trainings that we've done in the past, you can find them on the board. But this is what this is for. This is what the prime was created, not to pay people big money on prime 1, prime 2, and prime 3, but it was to build the depth, the levels, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. And when that happened, and that's the reason why the prime has level 1, level 2, and level 3, and we stop, right? Because literally level 3, it's pretty strong actually. But when you're 4, it's really, really solid. It's like concrete. Oops. Back to you, Tammy.
All right. So the goal is to work with your personals. Okay. So the goal is to go into everybody, and I'm going to give you an assignment here. Everybody write down your assignment. For those of you who have already sponsored people in your organization, you want to have a meeting with them. Have a meeting with them, find out what their goal is in building this. Show them the ranks with the income potential. Let them choose where they want to be. What's their goal with all of this? How fast do they want to build it? And from there, is working with the contact list. And don't just wait for them to fill out a bunch of names. You want to get them immediately into action. Now that they're excited about the income potential, the goals that they want to do, then you want to go into the numbers. So every single person has 200 people. If they start writing down the first name of everybody that they know, if they start going into their hot list, who have they ever met through their hot list? You know, and you start taprooting down to that. I mean, I've created my contact list over and over and over again. And then when a name came up, a fresh name came up, because the last event that I was at, they introduced me to so-and-so. So your network is always expanding. So it's tap rooting into the networks. Okay, so with that 200, let's say there's 200 people, tap rooting into that as quick as possible. Let's say out of those 200, if they actually do the work, they're going to get to the ranks and they're going to get to the income that they desire. So it's to be with them through the process. So it's not about sponsoring a whole bunch of people and letting them fly, but to get in within your team and taproot with a relationship you already have. And that helps them build their income, but you're not going to do it for them, by the way. They have to do the work. So you're going to, at the beginning, when they're new, at the beginning, when they don't have the posture, they don't know what to say at the beginning, you're going to get them to introduce you. Just introduce me to people. Ask them if they heard about the news. What news? Well, this Ribosine product is going into the market, and there's a lot of people doing extremely well financially, sharing this with everybody. I want to introduce you to the person who brought it here. I want to introduce you to the person who I'm working with directly, who's making this happen in our market. So find a way in the conversation to get that third-party validation. Okay, and on social media, that third-party validation is whoever's making it happen, start promoting so you get that third-party validation out there. Our voices alone is not enough on social media. And it's not enough in person either, especially when you really know somebody and they know you really well. You have to tap into somebody who, you know, that can share the bigger picture. I'm laughing because I just remember my experiences in the past. So anyways, so if you had 40 new business partners, for example, Sam has 40 new business partners because you helped him taproot into his business, would he be excited? It'd be massive. 2020, 20 on one side, 20 on the other. So let's even go deeper on the
and
next
Tammy,
slide,
before we shift there, I wanted to mention, because I want people to see the analogy of the behaviors that we have applied in our own lives in building your own business, so they can understand we're not just sharing this to have content for a training tonight. We're sharing what we've done. Why do you think we book flights to go to Ghana, Nigeria, Philippines? We've been all over the world. Why do we do that? This is exactly what we're taprooting within our leadership's social environments.
Mm-hmm.
This is exactly how we've built it. It's not the number one recruiter in the company that makes the money, right? Of course, this is front sponsoring, which is the first step. But the wealth is in the depth of your organization. And that's the reason why we've committed to do all of these. And that's the reason why, while the pandemic was taking place, we weren't around and we shift to the virtual. You know, that human connection, it's irreplaceable. You cannot replace that. I mean, it's wonderful to have a way to see each other through these windows of social media, but it doesn't replace the human contact, the warmth, the human, you understand what I'm saying? So that's what we've been doing all these years, is we've been taprooting within our organization to help them build theirs. And in return, they've gotten some great results. Some of them became millionaires, which in turn, we benefited from the growth of the volume and you know, the income that's been pushed through the organization. So it's not the people at the top make all the money. It's the people at the top going down to the grassroots to help build up, to help lift people up, to serve people. These are the people that make money in this kind of business. So I just want to add this, Tammy, and now you can shift to you want me to shift to the next slide?
Yeah, so I just want to expand on the numbers, because when we were at Eric's, he called it tap rooting. We just built in depth, and that's what we've always talked about. But when he brought this demonstration back on the whiteboard, we were like, oh my gosh. So, you know, sometimes you need, like Chris said, we all need to be reminded of the things that got us there in the first place. Because I see a lot of you on this session, on the Zoom right now, that, and I'm not sure who's out on Facebook Live, but I know that a lot of you are already building teams. What got you there in the first place? Write it down. What did you do to get there? So this is important to sit back and do the recap, plan, do, review, because that's what it's going to take and more to get to the next level. Okay, it's hard, you guys. This is not an easy business. If it would be easy, everybody would be doing it. Everybody.
Well, let me rephrase that. It's easy to start. Everybody does it. But the people who stick around, and that's what Tammy talks about, is that you need to overcome a lot of the emotional constraint that happens when we build an organization. That's what she means by it's not easy.
Yeah, well, business, Chris, business in general.
Well, yeah.
It's easy to be an employee, but it's hard to be an entrepreneur because you're stepping out of your comfort zone. You're doing things that you have to, you know, relearn and you know, working with different personalities and helping them overcome challenges. It's you know, it's totally different. So I don't know, maybe some of you are in a job that you're training everybody and you get it, but in management or something like that. But anyways, if you go into the tap rooting part aspect of it, so if 40 of those people, we made that example of 40 people from your front line, 40 people helping them go through the whole network, and 40 people sign up. Is that a lot of people? Would you say it's a lot of people? 40? So if that person, Chris, the one should be the 4 anyways, you go into the B's times 200 people, that's 8,000 networking opportunities, 8,000 from 40 people. Isn't that exciting? So 8,000 people that you can connect with your front line. By then, they know what you're doing, number one. So the goal is to introduce these people to A, which is the person who sponsored them, and you, the leader. And through that, if 5% join it, there's 400 more people in your organization. Only 5%, 400 people. Do you think you have the language by then in building this business? You think they have the excitement, the posture, the income, the rank, and the disciplines to build it too? That would be another thing, right? So 400 people, and that are new, excited, and they want to go into their networks and share the news. Share the news. Did you hear about the news? So it's all about tap rooting. So if you go another level, then 400 of those people each have 200 people they know by first name, and expands, by the way. I'm sure that most of you have more than 200 people on your list now. I know we have thousands over the years. So imagine 80,000 people to taproot with 400. You want to be diamond? Who wants to be a diamond in this group that is listening to this?
I want to maintain it.
That's it. That's it. Diamond plus right there. This is the strategy. Taproot.
And you know, folks,
Taprooting.
if I may just add on this thought, Tammy, is, you know, when we talked about, and you know, you've been hearing us preach about third-party credibility, when someone new come to the business, I know some of you have done that, is introduce them to Tammy or I or both of us, whatever you feel is appropriate, to either a Zoom session or a WhatsApp call, whatever the situation may be, because that is what often solidifies. I know Mireille, she sponsored someone just recently, and we did this call, and we just did a welcome, and you know, and it solidifies that belief and the vision. And in fact, that person came in and super busy with his job, with his company. He owns Matrix. He's one of those very fancy, high-tech kind of training equipment, worth just millions and millions and millions of dollars, super busy. And he was basically explaining that, you know, Max is not a priority, but it's something that he really appreciate. But he sees the potential. But right now, so what happened is, in the midst of that conversation, I was helping him see the big picture. And then I started sharing some numbers that occurs when you start introducing 4 to 5 people. This is what I'm talking about, right? From that line, you introduce 4 people. That's 4 different layers. And then I start showing the growth in the income based on past experience that I've seen within my organization, and his eyes lit up. If we never talked, and he would just kind of continue to go about how he felt about things without speaking to someone who's lived that life of the possibilities with the income possibilities that Max offers, it would have materialized. It never, because he doesn't know. And this is the point when Tammy, let's say 5% join the business builders and get introduced to the leader, that is critical. This is another piece of the puzzle that if you don't apply, you may lose a giant because they never saw the big picture, because they just don't know. And because you may not have gone through that yet, it's not in your world, it's not part of your ecosystem yet. So it's not going to come in your vocabulary because you haven't seen it, you haven't tasted it. But we did for many, 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 many years. So this is what we mean by, it's not about ego and, you know, we want you to talk to your people. You know, it's not that at all. It's because we know what we can do to instill the possibility of vision to the people that are currently in your business. And to go back, what Tammy suggested for you to do as homework is, if you go within your network of people, some of you have sponsored quite a few people over the years, and you forgot all about them because maybe they quit, they stopped their authorship, and you figured they're gone and it's over. No, it isn't. The world's changing. People are looking. And if you receive a call from you, and you may be calling them at a time where they're praying to God, what can I do to make more money? Boom, here you go. The call comes in, and you just happen to be in right sequence, and things can ignite again. So again, you want to take advantage of that. Tammy is showing you some numbers that are absolutely real, by the way, because I've seen these numbers. It's crazy how fast things grows when there's excitement and fire and momentum. But keep that in mind.
Like what, 360,000, Chris, in our organization?
Yes.
Something like that.
Mhm.
And it starts with a few people who tell a few people, who tell a few people, who tell a few people, and then you do a 30-day drive, or then you do a 90-day drive. We always have to have campaigns going. And yes, sometimes we have to sit back and plan, do review, and get reminded of what you did that got you to where you are in the first place. If you haven't done anything, well, now you know what to do to get started, right? The moment you sign up your first person, you're going to know what to do now.
Absolutely.
So for those who already have people, get back to them, tell them about this training that you just were part of, and that you wanted to help them. Are they looking to do anything with Max? Do they have any goals? Do they want to achieve some big things in life? Do they want to build a legacy, generational wealth? We talked so much about generational wealth this weekend, so much. It was crazy. Talking about investments, generational wealth. Well, guess what? You need to make money to do that.
And
How do
one
you
of the
make
great
money?
things,
You build a network.
one of the great things that were mentioned is the cash flow that this kind of business brings in.
Hmm.
And folks, don't worry about, oh, I'm not making, 2,000 a month or 5,000 a month or 3,000 a month yet. I'm only making 500, 700 US or whatever the situation may be, or $400. Folks, if you look at your RRSPs, if I talk of you from a point of view of Canadian investment, which is the least, most easiest, the least, but I mean, it's a safety net. And you're talking about 16 years, 25 years of putting $150 a month. Now imagine if you would compound that with your income of Max International. And there's so many different income opportunities, but you need the cash flow. You need the cash flow. And the cash flow is really not that hard to get. You may need to have to be a little bit uncomfortable at the beginning. But when a team starting to take life, it's because there's a leader that has unfold, that's actually taking care of things. And when that happens, it gives us the opportunity to leave the nest and build a new nest. And again, many of you I've seen our life over the years prior to the pandemic, which now are starting again, traveling all the time. This is what we do. We leave the nest and we leave it to the field leaders to continue to evolve, because just like them, we are them, just a step a little further. So the thing is, when you start doing the example that Tammy talked about, and she saw, these are very normal numbers, by the way, but for some of you it may seem overwhelming, but it's really normal actually. And the fact is, even cut down this to a fraction. I mean, it builds excitement from under, which pushes energy to the surface.
Always, yeah.
Right? The volume, that's why when you sponsor, we ask you, don't sponsor on the inside leg of that person and the inside leg of that person and put it, because you're diversifying your momentum. You want to maintain bottom left or bottom, or whatever side you're looking at. Bottom left, if you're looking at me, bottom right, right? Bottom left, bottom right, bottom left, bottom right, bottom left, bottom right. And you always balance. If one side has more volume than the other, then you do a little bit more on the side that has less volume. But don't forget about the other side that has more volume, because I assure you, it will come back and bite you. So you need to balance both sides. Very, very important. But as you introduce someone underneath, that energy flows all the way up, because everybody sees the volume. And that's one of the power within a binary structure. And we have the best of both worlds, because we have a binary and also a kind of uni-level based on the matching check, right? So it increases your business volume. That's the cash flow that you need. It increases income, which the volume will increase. Exactly. That's the cash. That's where I should be pointing out here. That's the cash that you're looking for to invest into so many venues. And Tammy and I are doing a lot of investment. And matter of fact, when Eric was asking us, what are some of the investment ideas you guys have? I thought I was just one of those little guys, which I still believe, but I have about 10 different nests out there that's growing for over a decade.
And we were all put into a breakout groups. We did lots of breakout group stuff, and each one had to share their investments with each other. And a lot of them had some really good investments. So we learned a lot from the other top producers. And they learned obviously from what we're up to as well. But again, you got to increase your income so you can do this stuff.
But that's the point. And that's my point I'm trying to tell you, is the max income. And that's what they're teaching us in the mastermind, is your network marketing business is your cash flow. But to sustain the lifestyle, you got to invest. But like Tammy says, you need to, oops, I keep hitting my mouse here. You need to increase your volume to increase your income. You increase your volume by creating excitement. So we're telling you what to do. Now it's up to you to do the homework and to do the activities. That's what that maybe some of you will. I'm hoping all of you will, which will increase your income. And then from there, it increases also the amount of people that are accountable to maintain. Their checks are impacted. Their income is impacted. They want more. It's normal. And that will create that accountability within these leaders. And then you become, and then at this point, you can start building new market, as I stated. And that is literally a mirror image of how Tammy and I have built our empire, literally. And we circle back. We don't forget about this original team, which we're going back for decades, right? Well, we're going on over 2 decades now, almost a decade and a half, right? And then from there, what's happening is leaders are overlapping. They each have their own organization, and that's how you grow and build a network that will be very, very fruitful. And you don't have to worry about, how far you need to go. Just start with what you got, because you never know who they know that could create a mammoth organization. And again, what are the benefits of taprooting? Well, your leader will come to recruit, train, and develop teams while you build in other areas. The leader ensures that the team will have a life on its own. Again, you can testify to that. We live in Canada, and business have grown in different parts of the world because of that exact concept. This is what taprooting is. So it's not about being the #1 recruiter in the world. It's great that you recruit, but are you taprooting within your organization? Because that's where the wealth is. So some of you that are building the business, you might have sponsored one person, or 2, or 3, or 4, or 5, or 10, or 100. I suggest that you circle back and go through that, make an inventory of everybody got into your business, even if they quit for whatever reason. Remember, time have changed. Economy has changed. Things are changing. And don't look at it, well, I can't afford the product. You can't afford the product. It's not about affording the product. It's about creating another income revenue source that can pay for your product. But way and above that is to add to your current income source. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, there's many markets that order their auto ship every month and they sell it because they just can't afford to consume their products. So they sell it. They might take a 1-week bottle and spread it out, but they're selling the product and they're building networks so that they can build a rank up to being able to do it. So, there's lots of excuses that many people can make in business. It's not even network marketing, in business, period. But the leaders always find solutions to everything. And
Agreed.
Yeah, what I love about, going to Eric's home is that personal connection that we're getting with people who are going through the same challenges, the same everything, adversity, all of that stuff. Everybody's going through the same, and so it's easy to connect and give each other ideas and tips, and we learn from each other. We came back with this whole new concept, mindset, and you have to be open enough to make some shifts, do some alterations. That's what leaders do. So if you want to build this, these are the things that we all need to do to build up people, and not to build the business for them, but to get them started, get their engine started. So think of all the people that you signed up. Did you ever get their engine started? Think about that. And you're probably thinking of the names right now that you never got their engine started. They haven't put 5 people in front of you so you could have a conversation to talk about the business. Those are the people you need to connect with.
I agree. So in conclusion, what's very important is continue the field training process. This is really, really important, right? Taking each leg at least 4 level deep. So some of you are saying, how can I become a diamond? That is the question. That's the answer, right there, right? So statistically, it's one of the recruits will be committed and build a business. So you can't just kind of have one person in and hope to God that they're going to do something. This is not the way you want to build this, because it's most likely not going to happen. So what's important is you have to go wide. What do we mean by going wide is, well, don't limit yourself to 5, because this person can drop, this person can drop, this person can drop, and maybe Chuck and Sam will be left building the business or whatever. So you're going to add more and more and more. And then some of them may choose to come back and just become a glorified customer, which I appreciate these folks because they contribute to the volume and the qualification. So trust me, I'm grateful for any form of business that comes in. Of course, I love the builders. I thrive on that. But I'm grateful for everybody, because the way the plan works is that it rewards the behavior of supporting your organization, regardless of the effort and the commitment that they may have. And that's very important. Another thing that's also very important, let me just stop the screen here and let's go into speaker view and let's go full screen. So one thing that's important that you have to keep in mind, is the consistency, and the persistency. And this is something that is very common among the 6-7 figure income earners in network marketing. They are consistent as heck. They are persistent as heck. They really are. And you can have a professional approach to your persistency and consistency. You don't have to be a nuisance to people. You don't want to be that way. But you want to be a reminder of what could be for them. And you can tap into what Tammy and I are, let me rephrase that, the lifestyle that we're living and the things that we do. For example, we don't do winters anymore. We laugh about it, but I'm sure a lot of folks would love to walk away from winter and staying warm all year long, right? The only reason we're here until the end of December is because I love Christmas and I want to celebrate with the family. And, so we tolerate it till the end of the year. But the fact is, it's a choice. And that's my point. And you can have the same choice. And folks, let me tell you something, and I'm not going to expand on that, but I want to touch on this, is Tammy and I are plugged into a resource of investors. And there's some really good ideas that are presented to us. And we're in a position to participate into these ideas because of the income flow that comes from the business opportunity. And we want you to be part of that. But you can't qualify for these kind of investments if you don't earn an income that will justify you getting a part of it. So it gets much, much bigger and much brighter than you think when you reach, excuse me, when you reach the levels of high rank. So the possibilities here are endless. Network marketing is on the rise. And the people that will thrive are the people that are adjusting to the hybrid way of building. Social media mixed with the face-to-face hotels, meeting people, coffee shops, whatever the situation may be. And if I may suggest and be as bold as, don't let our governments impose on you what you can and cannot do. They're not the ones going to pay your mortgage. They're not going to pay your bills. They're not going to help you get out of your mess financially. They're not going to do that. They'll gladly take your money when you owe them. So the fact here, folks, is you've got to take matters into your own hands. And I don't mean to be disrespectful to our society and government and everything else. What I'm saying is, don't depend on these people. They won't do anything for you. It's up to you. Entirely up to you. And this training that we're sharing with you here, it's a way out. It may seem a little bit uncomfortable at first, but once you get into the groove of doing this, and we're telling you, just to recap on that, go through every single person that you've sponsored. Every one of you here have sponsored associates. Go back to these people and maybe set a call that we can do with you to instill some belief and vision on where we're going with this. And I assure you that with the volume of folks that are here this evening, either on Facebook Live, we're going to be in the Philippines very, very soon, by the way. So looking forward to see you guys there. And we're going to be traveling again in West Africa and East Africa, guys. Trust me, we'll be back. But the fact here is, especially for those of you here that are within the North American market, we are here now. Don't wait until we're around the world to book some calls. Do it now, before the holidays. You know, when December hits, everybody's busy doing everything, right? But people do need money. So now is the time to follow through. So Tammy, what are your last thoughts as we end this call?
Taproot. That's it. So start writing your list. Get back to your strategizing, your plan. So this is the plan to review. So I hope you wrote down your assignments in your tap rooting and start asking questions with the people that you're personally sponsoring, and find out what they want to do with this. Find out how you can be of service. Let them know what you just learned. They need to know what you're learning and why you're evolving and why you're growing. And they can too. So they, if they show up, they're going to learn. They have to show up if they want to learn how to do this business. And it's never the same from a third party. Like Chris and I are back. We might be a little bit tired because we're dealing with some time zone stuff. But I'm telling you, what was instilled in us this weekend, we're on fire. It might not look it right now, but we're on fire. And we're getting results because there's some big investments that we want to do.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I want a plane. So that's it.
I know, my love. I know you want a plane. I just want 10 million in assets. But you know what? A plane could be chartered, and it's actually another income stream. So I'm on board with. If it's something that is not just sucking down the income, but actually produce income, I'm good for it. Yes. Okay, so at the end of the day, folks, this ends our session. Now I know Mireille, you had your hand up. I'm assuming it was to mention the comment you've done with the call we did with your prospect. You're welcome. Absolutely honored to do that. Thank you, Lutz. Welcome from Puerto Rico. Always a pleasure to have you here. So if there's any comments or questions, as we end this call, feel free to raise your hand or post a comment. Otherwise, we'll just end on this note. And again, folks, thank you so much. And I hope that you're going to take to heart some of the things we shared. Don't take the simplicity of what we shared lightly, because this is what we've done. And if you apply yourselves and apply the concept on taprooting your organization, and don't worry about going big, it's a little shot that keeps shooting that becomes a big shot. Just remember that. And the key is start with what you have, work within your own network, start dipping into your own organization, and see what you can dig out of it, because you may have some gold that is just buried under the mud, the matter of speaking. You just need to pull it out and wash it off, and there you go, it shines again. Okay. So everybody have yourself a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for attending. And again, the calls are always recorded and will be posted on the Active Team Training YouTube channel. Okay. And it's also on the Facebook group. Bye for now. Bye-bye now.
Good night, everybody.